What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some Destiny 2 news to cover. Of course, Festival 2021 is live. We've got new rewards, some secrets and bugs to be aware of. We're also going to cover the silver versus bright dust items for the event so you don't waste any silver on bright dust drops. And then Bungie also talk future updates, a nerf to Shatterdive, buffs for weapon perks, and other important tuning announcements. Then they give us a bunch of teasers for Year 5 characters, including Xivu Arath, so lots to talk about guys, but before we get into it, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and Raid is available to play right now for free on mobile and PC, and comes with a bunch of awesome champions to play with, as well as loads of attributes which can be customized to become more powerful in combat. And Raid actually has some pretty serious challenges, including the Doom Tower, which is some of the endgame content, and Doom Tower is a huge prison filled with monsters with significant eldritch power. But the Doom Tower is overflowing and dark energy is starting to escape, so it's our job to head in and thin the ranks of our enemies. And it's safe to say there are some pretty strong enemies in the endgame content. But in general, Raid rewards playtime pretty well. We can spend shards at the portal to acquire new champions, and then we can take them over to the tavern to do various upgrades, and these champions do have plenty of different combat mechanics. Also this month though, Raid has a special Halloween event with bonus rewards and fragment drops with brand new legendary champions. And if you want an even bigger head start, then follow the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on screen, as new players get access to an epic hero called Morro, who's really strong in the Doom Tower by the way, but you'll also get 200,000 silver, an XP boost, and an energy refill, plus an ancient shard that lets you summon another awesome champion. And these rewards will be in your inbox for the next 30 days, which is pretty neat, so be sure to check out Raid Shadow Legends in the description box below. First up today, on the subject of discussing abilities, Datto asked a question about Shatterdive, and Kevin Yanis from Bungie replied that Shatterdive has been nerfed, and the nerf will debut on the 30th anniversary patch alongside a slew of other abilities focused on shifting the meta more towards gunplay. And so there we have it. Of course, Bungie have made changes to stasis over the past seasons or so, but they haven't really specifically affected the way that Shatterdive works. And of course, Shatterdive can be a little bit of an obnoxious ability. I think most specifically, players get frustrated at it because in a lot of situations you can't really counter it. And part of that will be because of how aggressive it is, but it will be interesting to see what adjustments Bungie make in order to nerf it. Kevin Yanis also referred to a slew of other ability tuning, and that focus on shifting the meta more towards gunplay is pretty interesting. Of course, that can mean adjustments to supers and grenades, but it also feels like it's possible that they'll be looking a little more at stuff like Hunter Dodge, Arc Souls, Well of Radiance, and we know they're looking at things like Dune Marches on Titans. So give us your thoughts about the Shatterdive nerf down below, and any other changes you think we could or should see in the comment section. But on top of the ability tuning and the 30th anniversary content, Bungie have confirmed a few other changes for that December update. So initially it does look like we could get adjustments to Dune Marches then, but also that's when we'll see changes to the catch-up node in Grandmasters, and we'll be able to play each featured strike for the season until we've earned the gilded title, and then the catch-up node will no longer be available. And in December, the Forsaken campaign is going to be available for free for all players. Then of course it will enter the Destiny content vault in February 2022. So there are going to be quite a few changes in the updates that we see around December, plus the content drop for the 30th anniversary pack itself, so it should be a fairly interesting time. Some other updates from this week though, and DMG said, be sure to hold on to your adrenaline junkie rolls. The team has some fun good news coming soon. And so a bit of a teaser that they're going to be updating that weapon perk. If you're anything like me though, you've probably already deleted a ton of weapons with Adrenaline Junkie, but it'll be interesting to see what that change is. Following the update yesterday though, folks were asking whether the matchmaking counter in Trials of Osiris will now be hidden, and DMG said it doesn't look like it. I'll follow up with the team and see when we can expect any changes, but it could be another couple of weeks. And so matchmaking counters are still going to be visible in Trials for the next little while, but Bungie Help said they're also investigating an issue where Year 1 Faction, Raid, and Trials of the Nine ornaments can only be unlocked through armor synthesis using synthweave templates. And they made a bunch of those ornaments available yesterday, but they currently have the wrong requirements, and it's something else that Bungie will probably update soon. Now though, let's speak about Festival of the Lost for a moment. Of course there are some very funky cosmetics for the event this year. Personally, I've had a lot of fun with the new Haunted sectors. The gameplay kind of feels like a proper horde mode, although you do get capped at 10 boss kills. But otherwise it's pretty neat, and apparently folks are running Expunged Tartarus to get Book of the Forgotten pages. You can clear that in around about 4 minutes and you'll get 4 pages dropped, but we actually found in a team of 3 that public events are an incredibly fast way to earn them as well. If you go somewhere like European Dead Zone, you can clear most events in 2 or 3 minutes and get up to 3 pages per completion. Another way that people are doing it in teams is actually running Wrathborn hunts. And if you go for the Savek Wrathborn hunt on the Tangled Shore, if you're in a team of 3, when you get to the final boss area, if you have the fire team leader, who also has the lure mod equipped, actually stay outside of the boss room, if the other player or 2 players go ahead and kill the boss, you can get 5 or 6 spectral pages dropped per kill. Then the fire team leader is actually able to start the boss encounter again, and you can kind of rinse and repeat. But if you're playing solo, I'd definitely say public events and double dipping public events will be a pretty fast way to get these dropped. Then of course it's worth having at least 10 of these pages before you do a haunted sector, as they'll be converted into manifested pages with each boss that you take down, and those are what we can use to unlock the lore book. Also though, as we discussed yesterday, if you have an Ascendant lens from the previous event, it is possible to visit Marasov in the Helm and turn it in for a bunch of free drops, including 3 Jurassic Green pulse rifles. Although some folks who have the item aren't getting the prompt to redeem it, so I'm not sure what that's about. Possibly it's a bug and Bungie might address it soon. Otherwise, final thing I wanted to touch on for the festival would be the Bright Dust versus Silver items for the event. So when we look in Eververse right now, the Gourd Summoner and its Showtime emotes are available for Silver, but they're actually going to drop for Bright Dust next week on the 19th of October. There is also the Fettered Shell available for Silver at the moment, but that one will be sold for Bright Dust the week after next on October the 26th. On week 2 of the event, so on the 19th of October, the Strange Brew emote and the Mad Machinery Sparrow will go up for Silver, but they're actually available for Bright Dust this week, so be aware of that. Also, the Calavera Shell and the Necromance Dance will be up for Silver, but both of those are going to be sold for Bright Dust on week 3, which once again is October the 26th. Week 3 will feature the Lepidoptera ship and the Skittle Scare Sparrow for Silver in the store, but both of those will be sold for Bright Dust before that time, so just a quick heads up for any of you guys who were interested. Finally, right here though, we've got some more interview segments with interesting nuggets about Witch Queen and characters in Destiny over the next couple of years. So recently, let's not forget that Bungie devs have suggested, firstly, that we haven't seen the last of Kaitor, but also that Mithrax and Saint 14 are likely to take center stage again, as well as the fact that Bungie are still looking at what they can do with Callus in the future. But Robbie Stevens did tease that players haven't yet realized just how important Xivu Arath will be. Plus they teased that the spoiler alert sidearm, which has been brought back this season, and has the flavor text "someone is going to die," is not a coincidence, but that's all it'd say on the subject, and of course the last time we saw that weapon in the game was the season before Cade was killed. Then in a recent interview in Metro, they asked Bungie developers about bringing Xivu Arath to the forefront. And Robbie Stevens says that Xivu Arath is Savathun's sister. She's also one of Savathun's family members. And what you're seeing right now is a pretty big rift between Xivu and Savathun. So we are definitely intentionally looking at characters like Xivu Arath and characters who are on the darker side of things a little bit more. And we're trying to find the right ways to position them to help build the roster of villains and other characters that we expect Guardians to attack and ultimately take down at some point. And he goes on to say the reason I'm being super vague is that we understand roughly what we're doing with Xivu Arath, but also we have some tentpoles for major characters over the next couple of years, but those tentpoles can change. And so of course he isn't making any promises, but he goes on to say what you're describing is very intentional. And with Xivu Arath, they recognize that it's one of Savathun's sisters, and someone who would care a lot about Savathun starting to change in some of the ways, and is explicitly trying to stop her at this point from whatever her schemes are doing. And they also point out that, of course, in Season of the Lost, we're seeing a lot more Xivu Arath enemies on nameplates. And they say we're going to get some clues and some hints of what might be to come. And so Bungie are now starting to really tease Xivu Arath as a major character for some point in the future. Of course, that could happen in Year 5. It might be something they drop via a season or another expansion, but we can expect that character to kind of ramp up and start having some influence, and for us to learn a lot more during Witch Queen. And it gives us a very loose suggestion of some of the characters that are going to be at play over the course of Year 5 and 6. So, as always, give us your thoughts about that down in the comment section. But for today, guys, that is everything that we have to round up in the video. So, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this one. And if you have, a rating down below really does help us out on the channel. If you are new to the channel, be sure to get subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any Destiny content, and I'll be sure to keep you up to date. But otherwise, thanks as always for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.